The face of the Red Sox franchise just joined a growing list of players starting to call FSG out. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and this offseason really hasn't been all that fantastic, especially from a fan perspective. The difference between the expectations and the execution of the front office, but specifically the ownership of this team, hasn't exactly gone the way we had hoped, and fans are starting to get really upset. But fans aren't the only ones talking about this. Content creators, analysts all over the country have been talking about the Red Sox offseason, and now players are starting to join in. With spring training coming around, they're starting to get these opportunities with the press once again, and some of them have taken that opportunity to voice their frustrations with the Red Sox offseason, both former and current players. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to break these down. We're going to talk about who called FSG out, why it's so important that they did, and what kind of impact this could have on the 2024 team. But before we get into that, do me a favor. We are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. You guys have been absolutely incredible. We are now about 580 subscribers away from that 10,000 mark. So if you're new here, do us a favor, help us get there by hitting that subscribe button. We talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It really does help these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Honestly, right now, there are 3 names on this list of players who have been vocal about this Red Sox offseason. All 3 of them are extremely important figures within the Red Sox sphere, both past and current players. Starting with an absolute Red Sox legend, a guy who's a staple in the Red Sox community, probably the best second baseman in Red Sox history, Dustin Pedroia, who was on a FaceTime with a lot of top executives within the Red Sox organization, including Sam Kennedy, Craig Breslow, and Alex Cora, where he voiced his opinion on this Red Sox offseason and what they should do with the free agents left on the open market. In an interview Monday, Sam Kennedy spoke about this FaceTime with Dustin Pedroia. Now, it started as a, hey, I just want to get you here for spring training. Dustin Pedroia denied that opportunity and will not be coming to spring training, but also took the opportunity while he was on the phone to politely, I'm sure, to voice his opinion on what the Red Sox have done and what the Red Sox need to do. Sam Kennedy saying, quote, he was very clear about his feelings. Now, Pedroia is and always has been not afraid to voice his opinion on the Red Sox matters and stuff like that. So it's not really a surprise to me that Dustin Pedroia had some feelings about what the Red Sox did this offseason. It's also not a surprise to me that because of the way the Red Sox have operated this offseason, Dustin Pedroia's got some really strong feelings. But it's always important when someone so big of a figurehead sticks out his opinion and voices it directly to this front office. Now, the second person on this list is also a pretty big name. It is a possible future Hall of Famer. It's a guy who is a storied closer in Major League Baseball and is currently the closer of the Boston Red Sox, and that's Kenley Jansen, who went on a Baseball Isn't Boring podcast by Rob Bradford and was asked about the offseason and whatnot, and here was his reply. I definitely feel frustrated. I came here for 2 years where year 1 we were going to compete, but year 2 we were really going to go after it. They have a completely different vision now. I get it, it's part of the business, but at the same time, I have 1 more year left here, and I'm going to give the fans the best I have. This is a Hall of Fame closer in Kenley Jansen sitting down and telling you, hey, I'm not exactly pumped with the way you've operated this offseason, and that's pretty big news. But I think the most important player on this list that had spoken out about the Red Sox offseason is Rafael Devers. He is currently the face of your franchise. He is the $300 million player. This is the cornerstone of your organization, and he was asked what he thought about this team's offseason in his first presser, and Rafi really didn't hold back for basically the first time in his entire career. He said, quote, they need to make an adjustment to help us players be in a better position to win. Everybody in this organization wants to win. We as players want to win. I think they need to make adjustments to help us win. I'm not saying the team is not okay right now, but they need to be conscious of what are the weaknesses and what we need right now. Adding in another quote here, but the big part of this other quote is everybody knows what we need, and that he had voiced this to ownership yesterday. Again, this is the face of the franchise, the player you decided to truly make the investment in over the last couple of years. This is the player you decided to give $300 million over players like Betts and Bogarts. And the reason I think this is the most important is because this is Rafi. This is a dude who doesn't want to be the face of the franchise. He doesn't want to be that guy. He's normally very quiet, normally very reserved, and honestly, for the most part, doesn't usually share his opinions like this. For him to come out and say something like this is extremely rare, and it's probably the first time he's ever actually done it. And the fact that it is so public and it was so direct and all that good stuff with the press the other day, this is pretty important and something ownership needs to pay attention to. So now what you've got here is you've got a Red Sox legend, a future Hall of Fame closer, and the face of your franchise on top of basically every fan imaginable and every analyst imaginable telling you that something is not right. And this is just the first week of spring training, right? With your ownership, you could kind of understand the reasoning behind, well, they're looking at these analysts and they're saying they don't have an exact view of what the inner workings of this organization look like. They probably have a similar thinking to fans, even though fans are the lifeblood of this organization, but it's much harder to ignore people who are within this organization, people who have a look behind the curtain, who know what's going on behind the scenes, voicing these opinions publicly and letting you know, hey, we've talked about this behind the scenes. Clearly nothing's getting done. It's time for me to turn to the public and let them know what my opinions are. The scariest part of all of this is now you've got every single person in the room screaming at you that you're doing something wrong, and it appears as though the only people who don't understand it are the actual people in charge, and that's absolutely terrifying. If you're the front office of this Red Sox team right now, these are the people you need to listen to. These are the people that are going to be the biggest influences of your team going into 2024, and in the case of Rafael Devers, you're talking about the face of the franchise for the next 10 years, right? You're talking about your cornerstone player coming out and saying, hey guys, everybody knows what we need. Is there a way we can get that done? This is exactly what we're hoping did not happen, right? Because this is big news, and if Red Sox ownership is going to listen to anybody, it's going to have to be the players on this list, because these are wildly influential players. It's not like you had a AAA last roster spot type person talking about these moves. No, these are big time guys within the Red Sox organization. Dustin Pedroia is one of the most influential Red Sox players of all time. Kenley Jansen understands what it takes to win and has won at the highest level possible. And Rafael Devers is, again, your $300 million player. How are you going to sit back and allow these guys to go out there and talk about this and not do anything for it? I mean, even Jonathan Papelbon is sitting out there right now going on podcasts and begging the Red Sox to sign Jordan Montgomery. It's really not a hard solution to this problem. And the fact that we've gotten to the point of players having to speak out and players that don't normally speak out is a big issue. Now, in terms of how this could affect the 2024 team, there's two possible ways this could go. The first way is Red Sox players are sitting there and they're thinking the exact same way as Kenley, as Rafi, and they're saying, well, why should we care if our ownership doesn't care? If they don't want to put a winning team on the field, fine, we'll just do our own thing individually and we'll play this season out and it's whatever, right? We'll try and earn a contract next year, or we'll try and pad our stats or whatever it is. Or the second thing that they could do, and realistically what I think they will do, is to use this as motivation. They'll sit there and they'll say, hey, wait a second, nobody believes in us. Our own owners don't believe in us, but we have the talent, we have the camaraderie, we have a young core of talented players, as well as a whole group of veterans who have a whole lot to prove. We're going to put that together, and that could be a dangerous thing for the rest of the league. That could end up working out well for the Boston Red Sox, but I think this is going to have some impact on 2024. Whether or not the ownership actually listen to the opinions of their star player, their Hall of Fame closer, and the legend that is Dustin Pedroia is a different question. I honestly don't know if this is going to sway anything, because the Red Sox have been getting heat this entire offseason for basically every other outlet and haven't really done anything to course correct. Maybe this is the exact push they need, but I don't have a ton of faith that that's going to happen. I really don't know how this is going to impact the rest of the offseason or whether it will impact the offseason at all. But I know one thing, and that overall having these three guys speak out is incredibly frustrating. To have it to the point where you have Red Sox pillars talking about how they believe that this offseason could go a lot better is something that's wildly disappointing and disheartening, and it's really, really frustrating, because you go into spring training training and you just want to play baseball, right? Fans get excited, baseball is back, and immediately you're hit with the drama again that we've been dealing with this entire offseason. It's incredibly frustrating to me, and I'm sure it's incredibly frustrating to you. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of these players coming out and speaking about the Red Sox offseason? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? What are your opinions on what they said, and do you agree? Let me know all your thoughts on Red Sox past and present coming out and calling out FSG a bit in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button. Like I said, on the road to 10,000 subscribers, plus we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.